logistics now.
Yes.
If I remember properly, he also spoke about logistics where they signed an MOU with National Union of Road Transport Workers.
Yes.
And then there was something, whoa, NURTW? If I remember what happened in Ibadan, about...
Well, all over the place, really. It happens in Lagos, it happens in, you know, and otherwise, yeah.
But that of Ibadan is particularly... Apologies.
I know, well, I know you are rubbing it in because I'm resident in Ibadan. Yeah, but to be very frank, you ask yourself, which other institution or organization has the resources that can be used to make our logistics less problematic? You see, it is not the last time we're going to hold elections in the country. For years to come, we will continue to hold elections. Whatever may be the case, those countries that have matured in their democracies, I take India as an example. They went through all this. At the time, everybody thought that the Indian parliament was the most corrupt in the world and all the rest of it. But they got to a point where they themselves asked themselves very hard questions. Are we going to continue like this if we expect our country to make substantial progress?
But do we actually have we come to terms with the fact that our institutions have challenges and we need to improve upon them?
Oh, yes.
Because if that MOU with NURTW, because some senators did also say, wait a minute, what if they are maybe surreptitiously working for a certain political party and that comes to play in the distribution of the materials? What happens?
There will always be speculations, suspicions in that regard. You know, there will always be. And that's one of the things that we ought to recognize in this. The NUTR, road union workers, are they not Nigerians? Listen to me. Are we going to import people to come and do that for us? No. You see, what happens is that you will... I mean, let me give you another example. Why is it that police buses are shuffled all over the place? Is it not...
Including electoral officials?
They're designed to ensure that people don't get familiar with each other to the point where they can be compromised. Then we also, find ideas that will ensure that these NURTW people, are not compromised.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is one of the question I asked you earlier, which you had answered, but you didn't put it all to this. Logistics issues come up again,
right?
About working on NURTW. There will always be complaints, but didn't INEC have enough time to build this structure in? Why do we always have to go back to NURTW?
You see, how much of your resources can you commit to the organization of an election? It has to be, proportional, and you must bear all these things. If I buy vehicles to move these things up and down the place after the election, what happens? You see, they have to. By and large, we will get there. We will get to the point where even the politicians themselves will say, no, there's honor among thieves.
There is. So a lot of people would really like to share a level of optimism, and we're hoping that a lot of people do share a level of confidence, especially politicians.
Yes.
Do you see this? How do you see litigations going after the elections? Do you see a lot of them coming up, or do you see that they'll reduce?
We're likely to have a lot coming up.
Before or after?
After.
In spite of all that has been put in place, and in spite of...
You see, you will, because now it's easier to procure evidence to challenge whoever is declared winner if you feel aggrieved.
Now? Why did you say so?
Because the card readers will be a veritable means of securing forensic evidence.
Is it going to be tenable in court?
Well,
they did ask that in
the Evidence Act makes provision for the tendering of electronic evidence now is elaborated more on that, although that is going to create in itself a huge area of controversy. But the Evidence Act in Nigeria has improved considerably on the old technique. So you see, if these card readers and the measures that have been put in place, they're likely to enable the procuring of evidence to be easier, rather than the manual way of counting votes. Even if you get an order to go and inspect materials, manually is really unrealistic given the time frame. But the way that Professor Jega has demonstrated the use of these card readers and the fact that they're forensic in a sense will make getting of evidence easier, I should say.
Tell us about your impression of the election petition tribunal, because some think that will the judiciary have enough manpower? Because
yes, they do.
You have a lot of judges who will be concentrated on the election petition tribunal, because who will then go ahead and determine regular cases?
That's a shame about the system of administration of justice in this country. It's a big shame. Big shame. The fact that cases drag, and the fact that you use serving judges to do these cases, and the fact that, it is a huge shame. You see, you really want, and I hope that as we progress, there will be less litigation. But the way matters stand, there's so much at stake that people would rather not lose. and I think also that is because of the incentives that politicians that's another issue by itself. But if you look at the lifestyle of a public officer in this place, especially the very senior public officers, if you look at their lifestyle, is that variance is a far cry from what the ordinary Nigerians, the lifestyle of the ordinary Nigerians. And look, I'm not even talking of struggling middle-class people like you and I. If you compare it to the lifestyle of the man on the street, your bus driver, your bricklayer, your carpenter, your mechanic, and so forth, you will discover that the state expends far too much resources on the maintenance of the lifestyle of public officers in this place. And that's why there's so much struggle, even mortal struggle, to take control. Well, how that arose is, the colonial, and you had to maintain all these colonial officers in style that they are, used to abroad, and the inconveniences they had caused and so. But I think it's time, part of the things the National Conference ought to have debated. Let's look at it realistically. I remember in 1999, an older friend of mine was saying to me,
we have to go.
Yes, he said, it takes 20 million naira in 1999 to maintain me in this my position per annum.
Well, we'll have to let it go there.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed for coming this morning.
Yes.
Same here. Mr. Gboye Leyimun is a legal practitioner. We'll be back after the break. Join us again.